Okay, well, hi everyone. My name is Carly Gardner. I'm the Assistant Dean for Admissions here at Delaware Law School. I want to welcome you all tonight to our accepted applicant event. It's the first of many throughout the month. I'm also joined here by our new Director of Admissions, Steve Viduke, who is here in the background. He's going to help me facilitate this conversation tonight with our students. So as you know, March is Accepted Applicant Month. We do a mix of virtual and in-person experiences so that you can get a better sense of the supportive Delaware law community that we have here and really start to understand why you belong here. You can learn more about all of these events by visiting the Accepted Applicant Events page on our website. We can absolutely throw that link in the chat here in a minute so that you can access that. We are particularly excited for our Accepted Applicant Community Day, which is going to be on campus on Friday, March 21st. So make sure you mark your calendars, register to join us, and we're really looking forward to that so that we can continue to connect with all of you. So tonight's event is focused on the Delaware Law experience. And I'm thrilled to be joined here tonight by Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Associate Professor of Law, Alice Eakin, and several of our wonderful Delaware Law students who are going to share some great information, great perspectives, and I'm sure some great advice. Following the presentation, we're going to open things up for Q&A. I know there are a lot of people who are going to have a lot of questions for our students, so we want to make sure you have time to connect with these students, ask your questions, and get more information. We're going to do that in kind of an informal way, really conversational. If you want to put your question in the chat, I can field that to the students, or my colleague Steve can, if you're more comfortable raising your hand on Zoom or really just unmuting and jumping in. Again, we can keep this conversational. I think you'll find that we're a really approachable group, and we're really here for all of you so that you can get the most out of this. So really excited for that conversation. Again, I want to be mindful of time here, so I will stop talking and I will turn things over so that we can hear from Dean Eakin and our students. So Dean Eakin, take it away.
Thank you, Carly. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I'll be speaking for just a few minutes, and then our three student guest speakers will also provide a few highlights from their perspective and experience at Delaware Law. So I'm going to go ahead and just say a few words about our student speakers right now. You have an impressive, I'll just note, you have a very impressive group of students speaking to you tonight. They have all really excelled at the study of law and are leaders within our community. I won't embarrass them with a lot of those details, but let me just say a few words about each of them. Our first panelist this evening is Eileen Wang, and Eileen is a regular division student and president of our Student Bar Association. So she's getting ready to graduate soon. I'll leave it to her to explain what the Student Bar Association is, but she'll have a lot to say about various student organizations and honor societies. And I just want to say she is extremely busy, but somehow manages to make it look very easy. After Eileen speaks, then you'll be hearing from Zachariah Allen. Zach's a second year regular division student and also an extremely active participant in a number of organizations and honor societies. And then our third student presenter this evening is Jillian Reichert. Jillian's an extended division student, also in her second year, and she juggles a lot of responsibilities. And for those of you who are considering attending law school at night, she'll have some great insights about how to make that all work, among other things. So all three of our student presenters are extremely busy, but somehow manage to make it look easy, as Eileen does. And since I may not have the opportunity to say it later, I just want to take a moment to thank them very much for taking time out of their evening to be here tonight. So there's a wide variety of things I could talk about, but I'm going to focus on the Office of Student Affairs, where I work. There are a lot of things that we handle in student affairs, but I just want to focus on two particular aspects of student affairs that provide support for students. The first thing is academic advising. So myself and a few other professors have our offices in student affairs, and we serve as advisors to the JD students. Of course, this means we help students choose their classes, but law school really is a little different from undergrad, where you have many, many different majors that you need to be advised about and all different kinds of different requirements for those majors. Whereas in law school, it's more like a liberal arts degree in a sense, in that there's some set curriculum and you have an opportunity to take some electives. But you won't need as much academic advising in law school. If you need it though, it's there. But students contact us for a wide variety of things. The advisors I'm referring to, everything from what electives to take to time management in law school, how to defer an exam, advice on different areas of practice. Students come to us if they need really help with anything, if they're struggling with anything, having some kind of difficulty, they'll come to us for advice. So we always want to try to emphasize that that resource is there for you. And if once you're here, don't hesitate to reach out to your advisor. And we love doing it. We love being able to help students navigate law school, getting to know them on an individual level. It's one of the best aspects of our job. The second thing I wanted to highlight is the Academic Success Program. And that's also located or housed within the Office of Student Affairs, along with our bar preparation program. The academic support program, academic support generally is it's really important in law school. There's a really steep learning curve. The testing is a little different. A lot is expected of a law student, but we're here to help you through that. And it starts with orientation, actually starts really before orientation with our orientation preparation online resources called JD Edge. The JD Edge resources. And that's a series of modules and brief videos designed to introduce students to the study of law and how to be successful at that. And then during your first semester, there are skills labs, and also in your second semester, and so on. So it continues throughout your time at law school. But the other professor and I, who are co-directors of academic success, are there also for individual advising on any kind of academic struggles that you might be having. So that support carries on through preparation for the bar exam. And we have among other things, as far as preparation for the bar, we have a year-long bar course worth 6 credits to help our students get ready for the bar to hopefully pass on the first attempt. We are also running a program this semester that matches our 1L students, it's your first year law students, with successful upperclassmen whom we call Academic Success Fellows to provide exam skills tutoring. And we also provide various workshops during the year to address other gaps and needs. So the bottom line is we're here to help. Law school is a big adjustment for virtually all students, and we want to support you through that process. So those are the main things I wanted to address. So I'm going to hand it over to our students and to our first student speaker here this evening, Eileen Wang.
Thanks for the intro, Dean Eakin. Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Wang. I am the current Student Bar Association president, so I am the overarching president of all of our great student orgs here at Delaware Law School. I also work really closely with our 4 honor societies, so really, if there's anything you're interested in, whether it's being a part of an affinity group or learning more about a certain area of law, we really have a little bit of everything for you. So a little bit of background about me. I came into law school with a 2-year gap from undergrad. So no matter how long you've been out of undergrad or how soon you've been out of undergrad, it's never too early or too late to start law school. So congratulations, everyone here. I know taking the step to start law school is very scary and very big, but you are all doing phenomenally. So the reason I came to Delaware Law School is I really had no idea where I wanted to practice or what I wanted to practice. It seemed like everyone around me kind of knew what law they wanted to go to, and I truly had no idea. I'm from Pennsylvania, and so I really didn't know what state I wanted to study in, and Delaware Law School proved to be the best place for me to figure out what type of law I wanted to learn and where I wanted to go. Even now, as I'm preparing to graduate, that still holds true. I still have every single resource available to me to figure out where I want to go and what kind of law I want to study. So what I'm currently involved in here is I am on the Student Bar Association. I have been since my 1L year. And so if you're looking to get involved your 1L year, the Student Bar Association is a great place to start. I'm also on 3 honor societies. So Law Review, Transactional, and Moot Court Honor Societies. These are all organizations that you'll learn about in the future. All amazing. I'm also on the board of the Asian Law Student Association. I've been on the American Constitution Society board for 2 years, and I'm sure there are other things as well, but really you can do as much or as little as you want in law school and still be able to manage whatever you need to. outside of my student orgs, I have done externships for the past 3 semesters. So I have worked in the Court of Common Pleas here in Delaware, the Delaware Superior Court, and the U.S. District Court. All great opportunities that I could only get through my time here in law school. Being here in the center hub of all this great law, you are able to network with a lot of great people. Our professors are great as a networking resource. Students here will offer up jobs that they know are open to other people. And then people that I meet throughout always want my resume or always looking to help me get my foot in the door to other places. And so I've been very fortunate to have those opportunities. You guys are definitely welcome to ask any type of question you want to me, Zach, or Jillian. We will tell you the honest truth. I came into law school not knowing anything. And so this is probably a very somewhat scary experience, but you are truly welcome to ask about anything, whether it's cold calling, how many hours I do homework, if I have a life outside of law school. You can definitely ask all those questions. As for I will say there are a lot of opportunities outside of law school as well. So I live on campus, but law school isn't everything that I do. And so I'm a part of Inns of Court here in Delaware. So I'm in the Bankruptcy Inn of Court and I'm in the Richard S. Rodney Inn of Court for corporate law. It gives you an opportunity through the school to meet professionals in the Delaware, New Jersey, and Philadelphia region. It's how I network. I'm able to learn more about law. So there are different programmings where I learn more about case summaries, what's going on in the world, what's going on in Delaware, like how I can boost myself up as an attorney, and all these great opportunities. And those are all things that I got through the school, and through our career development office and our great deans here. I'm trying to think what else to say. I think the main takeaways from my time here at law school, I'm graduating in May, are definitely that our faculty is great, but our students definitely are the reason why Delaware Law School is so great. We have a huge support system here. Coming into law school, I thought everyone would be fighting at each other's throats to get ahead, but that is simply not the case whatsoever. Everyone is always willing to share notes, to help each other study, job opportunities, and it's just honestly a great bunch of people that all have a common goal. And we're all super driven and successful and awesome. So that really helps too. But the students always make what Delaware Law School is, and our faculty is amazing as well. They will put in the time for you, no matter where you are, like what kind of help you need, they're always available for you. Our career development office is super amazing with helping with resumes and then helping for internships or job opportunities. And so the possibilities here are truly endless. I do see a question, but I don't know if that's for me in the chat, but a typical semester of classes and credits, it depends on what you want. So you can take from 12 to 16 credits. Your first 2 years, well, your 1L year is set for what classes you take. Those are mandatory classes you'll get through your schedule. And then your 2L year, you have mandatory classes that you're able to choose which semester you take depending on what classes, and then you also get to put in other classes that you want, so electives or other areas of law that you can study. It's 12 to 16 credits, subject to change though. Other than that, if anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to ask, but I will move on to Zach.
And I'll jump in real quick. Thank you so much, Eileen. Everybody feel free to put your questions in the chat, but maybe we'll hold off until the end so that all of our panelists can chime in. But I do so appreciate that information, Eileen, to that question in the chat. So yes, on to our next student.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Zach Allen. I'm a 2L here at Delaware Law School, originally from South Philadelphia, the greatest place on earth. And like Eileen, I try to keep myself relatively busy on campus. So I serve as an academic success fellow, which is a great way to be active with first-year students, helping them develop skills for essay writing, building their outlines, which are things that you'll probably start becoming a lot more familiar with as you get closer to starting your first year of law school. It's really rewarding and it's a great opportunity to get involved. I served as a teaching assistant last semester for Torts 1, which will be one of the first classes you take when you come on campus in the fall. So you won't be on your own. There will be other students that have done it before that are there to help you get through it. I serve as a research assistant for Dean Todd Clark, which is a great opportunity where I can work directly with the dean of the law school, learning about the research that he does. That's really important. I think it's awesome in the ways that all of the faculty here are really engaged in academic writing. And so as you're learning and trying to develop your skills, the same thing is happening with our faculty on campus. So you get to really connect with each other. I have a few other friends that do research roles for professors, and they found it very valuable as well. Similar to Eileen, I'm a member of the Moot Court Honor Society and Transactional Law Honor Society. And I also serve as the vice president of the Latin American Law Student Association and the alumni liaison for the Black Law Student Association. So if you have any questions about those two organizations or anything else that I've stated, I'd love to talk about it. And I also really wanted to touch on my journey to getting to Delaware Law School because it felt a bit unique in ways. So being from Philly, I was close locally to Delaware. And it was something that I discussed with my grandparents. My grandma is originally from Wilmington, Delaware, and my family came from slavery in North Carolina, and the first place that they settled was in Wilmington. So it was always a special place for me, having the opportunity to learn and practice law and learn about the Constitution and learn about all these really important things in a place where my family first got, kind of like their boots on the ground and started to build what we have now for me to even be in this position and be in law school today. But I also had an amazing opportunity when I came to campus during an admitted students day, and I met Eakin, who is the previous Student Bar Association president, and she spoke with my parents and I for probably about an hour of me just grilling her with questions about the law school experience. And the fact that a student, despite having a ton of work on her plate, being SBA president, being a 2L, and as a 2L, I know the workload is hard. Just to take that time and want to talk to someone coming into the campus community, it really showed me, okay, not only is Wilmington a special place, but Delaware Law School is also a special place. And that's something that I've seen throughout my experience so far. So through BOLSA, through LOSA, through other student organizations and being active, I've really felt a sense of community. And one of the things that I love about the students on campus is that we very strongly advocate for one another. And so there's never really a time where there's one student all on their own that feels a certain type of way, whether there's an issue you want to raise or whether there's something that you want to start and you want to push something forward. There's always someone behind you that's willing to support. There's always faculty and staff that are willing to support. And having that in your law school experience with so much on your plate, dealing with the changes of coming from undergrad like I did, or even having a pause in your academic career and coming back to law school, the school really provides a lot. Additionally, I've seen a lot with career opportunities because of a very strong alumni network, which I don't think you see at a lot of other schools in the way that you see at Delaware Law School, primarily because for, I think, at least until last year, we were the only law school in Delaware. So naturally, if you're interested in working in Delaware or anything of that nature, the Delaware Law Alumni Network is extremely strong, and they are so willing to help you succeed in your career. So whether that mean meeting up for coffee, I got a few free lunches and dinners as well. Or if you're going to a networking event and maybe there's a judge that you've been wanting to be introduced to, they're extremely happy to help you. Coming from Delaware Law School, and that has been true from the time I started in law school until this very day, and to the point where I've now committed myself to all types of things with our career development office of when I graduate, I'm going to do this for the school. and it's really a beautiful sense of community. So I will stop talking now, so we can get a little bit closer to the Q&A section and pass it to Jillian.
Hi guys, I'm the evening division student. My name is Jillian Reichert and I am in my second year of law school. And I haven't had the opportunity to participate in many clubs just because of that evening division schedule. But I recently started with the Academic Success Fellows. And I know we've already heard a decent amount about that program, but the fact that Delaware Law has a program like that where students can get advice from other students, it reiterated the fact that Delaware Law School really wants to see their students succeed. And the best advice can come from other students who have been in the same position as you are going through right now. And it's a great way to get study tips from people who've been in your position, especially as an evening division student. And I am a first generation law student. I also am a food server during the day, and I'm lucky with flexibility in my work schedule as opposed to other evening division students who have a Monday through Friday office schedule. And because I am a food server, I did not know anything about the law besides one undergrad course that I fell in love with. It was criminal law. And just because you haven't had the opportunity to work in the field or you know a lot about the profession, it's okay and it does not determine success in law school. And I have found success through time management, figuring that out. But I know that might be a worry for some people that like you haven't worked in the field at all, you didn't study pre-law, but that will not determine success. And my saving grace as a evening division student is the friends that I have made in my second year. I made a study group. I have a core group of friends. We all lean on each other, and it isn't competitive. I know Eileen touched on that. I was shocked at how close I got with the other students. During finals week, all day we spend together. We really lean on each other. If one of my friends isn't in class for like a few days, we're all texting them like, get your butt to class. And it's really cool to just see how much we lean on each other and we're all in it together. It's not what you might see in shows and stuff where like everybody's fighting to get that top position. We all want to see each other succeed, and it's really a cool thing to watch fall into place with your group of people. And a big key point that I have found is to be super open with your employer as an evening division student. Others in my like core study group, they're paralegals with Monday through Friday jobs, and they still find a way to make it to the library all day for that study session during finals week. And that has to do with being extremely open with their employer. As soon as you know important dates, I would be letting them know, take off, maybe use a few of those vacation days, but you will be so happy that you did it in the end. And I know this might be like an obvious point, but I have a huge calendar right in front of me right now with all of my important dates. I used to be able to like not write anything down, but that has been my saving grace, my big old calendar right here. And just as long as you're open with your employers about your stress level, those important dates, taking off, I find that that is extremely helpful. And my last key point of advice, which I could probably also benefit from, it's easier said than done, but you should always find time for yourself. Take a day to go out and touch grass. And this will significantly help with burnout that you might face as an evening division student. Maybe go out with a few people that you don't know quite yet. And because you really are all in it together, you're all tired. go out, get a coffee. But time management comes as you fall into that schedule. So if anybody has questions.
Thanks so much, Jillian. And we actually do have a question in the chat that I think dovetails perfectly into what you just mentioned. And Zach and Eileen, feel free to tack onto this. So we have a question about, is time management difficult in law school?
It can be. There are, like, finals week last semester, I took we were scheduled 3 4-credit classes, and I know that we all were kind of like stressed out, had bags under our eyes by the end of it. It was constitutional law, contracts, and civil procedure 1, all in one semester as an evening division student. Those courses can be a little difficult, but we really did lean on each other. Like, as long as you find a friend that can keep up with, you guys can depend on each other. That's what I have found to be helpful. Making sure someone holds you accountable.
I think that's great advice. Eileen and Zach, any insights on if time management is difficult or maybe strategies you have used?
I can speak a little to that. So, time management, specifically speaking about school only, your first year is your most important year. And so, everyone around you, whether it's teachers or other students, they know how hard you need to work and how much time you need to put in. So, time management isn't difficult per se, but it's always a process, right? So, you're figuring out what works for you. It really, for me personally, after my midterms, that's when it really clicked on like how much studying I needed to do, or like how much time I needed to put into certain things. I will tell you though, my first year, I don't want to say I didn't have a life, but law school occupied a big chunk of my life. And I think that's the most important thing, is like you're taking like a little bit of your 1 year of law school to really grind and put yourself up there, and to make sure you study and understand. So that part isn't bad. Aside from just the studying with your orgs, and then if you have any other jobs or any other commitments, just like Jillian said, being transparent is a big thing. And when it comes to orgs in law school, we're all law students, we understand. So we're never going to put a lot of pressure on you to take away time from studying. Studying is always the number one. And then as you get externships and internships and other jobs, these people all went to law school as well. They understand that as you're applying, you're still in law school. And so as long as you have clear communication on like what kind of time you need to step away from your job to focus on school, it's all okay. I mean, I'm sure Zach can attest to it, but him and I like have very busy schedules and we're able to manage things. I live by my Apple Calendar. It's just all a process into like figuring out what works for you, but it's all very manageable.
Yeah, I have a very detailed and colorful calendar on my phone. One of the things that I had to implement last semester, though, is I realized I got used to having things on my phone. So I wasn't recognizing the urgency of which I had to do those things. So now I have about like 5 or 6 alarms for everything. So, so that's a bit more helpful. But I think in regards to time management, it's manageable. Law school is absolutely manageable. You can do it. But part of it is you have a lot more control over your time than you think. And I think sometimes that's something that first year students haven't fully grasped yet, just because it's such a new environment. But I'll say it. I didn't have a life my first semester, and that was completely my choice. I came into law school with very clear goals on what I wanted to do, especially academically and long term for my professional career. I knew that that would require a lot of work from me. So I got rid of streaming services. I got off of social media. Instead of watching TV, I was watching Quimby and Barbary videos about courses. And I really gave myself completely to law school that first semester, and it paid off. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. but it was well worth it in the long run. And so you don't have to be that person, right? You don't have to be the person that studies every waking hour of the day. You can still be very successful and have a great career without doing that, but you have to be very honest with yourself about what it is that you want, and that will determine how much work or how much time that you have to dedicate. So I think that's a really important thing to take away. And I would also say, set aside more time than you think is necessary, because it will always take you more time than necessary. One of the biggest adjustments also is getting used to law school reading. You start case briefing, which is a process within itself, and the material is also a lot more dense. So you might see a 20-page reading assignment and you're questioning yourself why it took you an hour and a half to get through it. And that's just the reality of law school. It's a lot of very dense material, and it takes time to digest all of it and really understand the application of the law. And so I think part of your time management when you come into law school is have a very clear understanding that if I think it's going to take me an hour, it might take 3, and that's okay. And just set aside enough time. That way, if it doesn't take you long enough, you feel a lot better about yourself too.
I think that's all great advice. And so, so yeah, please, everybody, feel free to keep putting your questions in the chat, and I will pass them along. I see, James, you're going to be on deck after I get through some of these, but we really wanted to make sure there was enough time, and why we've given so much time. This is your opportunity. As you can tell, we have 3 very accomplished, but very open and honest students who will tell you. And so we hope you take this opportunity to ask them questions. So let me get to the next question, which is for Jillian. It's a evening division related question. What is your favorite and least favorite part of the evening program? And again, this is a safe space. You can be honest. So please, feel free to answer that in any way you need to.
My favorite part is there is a mutual understanding at how stressful it can be and how long of a day it really is. There's quite a few people in my 2L section that have young kids that they're also managing. I just love the mutual understanding that, like, we're tired, we're gonna work hard through this, we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna all do it together. My least favorite part kind of answers Robert's next question, that it is a little tough to balance work, our courses, our classes, and then also trying to do student groups at first until you get the balance of your schedule. I think I remember someone discouraging us from joining clubs our first year as evening division students, because it really is critical to make sure that you understand the timing of your schedule, how you study, because of course your classes and courses come first. So I think that the meeting of some groups has been my least favorite part, just because it's tough to participate when you're working, it really is, to find a completely balanced schedule that fits both evening division and the day students.
That's helpful. And I think, I don't know if Eileen, you want to speak to a little more to Robert's question about what time of day the student groups meet, or maybe when events are put on?
Yes. So, speaking to the evening division, we love our evening division. They're very important to us. And so everything that SBA does and all of our orgs do is with the regular division and evening division in mind. So at the beginning of the year, every organization, or at the beginning of every semester, every organization receives the full evening division schedule. They are fully made aware of when the evening division classes are, and they always try to schedule during times that evening division can go, because your classes all vary from like different hours late into the night, and we're also trying to balance regular division. Not every event will always be available to the evening division, but there will always be a Zoom option, a recording. And then if there's anything that you truly want from the event, whether it's asking questions to panelists or XYZ, like these organizations will always make it happen. Student groups vary. So we have a whole slew. I think right now we're up to 22 organizations that do events almost every single day. And so many of them are geared towards the nighttime. So after our classes, with a few exceptions of like lunch and learns, or like study sessions that happen throughout different periods of like finals or during lunch period where you can just pop in really quick, grab some lunch, network with a few people and leave. But most of these events are after class or trying to be before the evening division classes, so during that time. For moot court, I can speak to moot court. I haven't been on the trial team. Moot court will always work to schedule around evening division. So our competitions are always at night, and they're on different days. So we will always make sure that you can compete or come watch or do whatever. If you ever need to apply for like a position or something, like these are all Zoom options to make sure the evening division people or even regular division students don't have to come all the way to school and travel and be in person. So the orgs are all very accommodating to the evening division, and SBA is too. We have evening division specific events. We offer dinners. We do specific events. We have presidents of SBA orgs who are evening division, and so these are all things that we're always working on and always very aware of. So it depends. That's the law school answer.
Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, and I think again, the big takeaway is, there is something for everyone here, and that means everyone, no matter your program, your division, your interest, there is something for everyone. I want to go to James. I know he's been patiently waiting, so if you want to go ahead and jump in, James.
Thank you, and thank you, Eileen, Jillian, and Zach for sharing and taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here with us and share your experience. I was asking just a general question, maybe for the three of you, if you've done a externship, specifically judicial externship. How was that experience? How did it enhance your time there? And then my other question might be for the deans, but probably students as well, is in terms of clerkships, do you have friends that are pursuing clerkships? What type of support does the law school offer for students who want to pursue a clerkship? And do they do them in the Superior Court or the federal court here in Wilmington?
I don't know if any of the other panelists have done an externship yet, but I have done 3 judicial externships and I interned for the court, so I can speak briefly about that. As for externships, I think that my externships were my favorite part of law school. Genuinely, I got to go to court all the time. I get to sit up at the bench with the judges and the law clerks. I get to see all the behind the scenes of actually applying what you learn in law school to the real world. And I also got to write and get like very good feedback directly from the judges who I'm hoping to write for in the future. It is the best opportunity. I highly recommend everyone try to work for the court, no matter what kind of law you're trying to do. No matter what, you will be writing to a judge at some point. So that is truly amazing. The school does a really good job with helping to set up externships and putting you in connection with those other people. When I did an internship with the Superior Court, afterwards, like it was by word of mouth. Like my friends ended up getting that externship the next fall, and then everyone just kind of like trails on afterwards. So there's always availability and opportunity to do that. As for clerkships, I'm currently like working for judges that are looking for clerks, and the school also provides a lot of support for that. So federal clerkships you need to do early on. All clerkships you apply like a year out, and the school provides like those resources. So they have panels, they have information sessions, and then you're always available to make an appointment with the Office of Career Development to get your resume boosted, or to be put in touch with any clerkship opportunities. Even though I'm about to graduate in May, there are still clerkship opportunities out there, so it's never too late, and they're always abundant. And the school does a really good job with putting you in touch with people who are in clerkships or judges that need clerks.
And I'll mention real quick, James, for you that a plug for another event coming up next week. We're going to have a virtual session just like this with some other students, all about our practical skills opportunities, including students who have done the clerkships, or sorry, not the clerkship, the externships, the clinics. And then I will say we are nationally recognized for our post-graduation clerkship placements, and so that's what Eileen was kind of speaking to just there. So a lot of good information on our website, but I would suggest you join us next Tuesday for more info. But go ahead, Zach. I saw you unmute. I think you're going to add to the conversation.
Yeah, I was just gonna add very quickly. There are also very special opportunities that Delaware Law School has that go outside of the traditional clerkship or externship opportunities, namely being the Walcott Fellowship. So it's an opportunity for students on campus. It's a very highly decorated opportunity, but essentially you would apply, and during your third year of law school, you would serve as a law clerk for either the Delaware Court of Chancery or the Delaware Supreme Court. So that's a really great opportunity. Again, very unique. Only Delaware Law School has that. And so for someone like me, I am interested in a corporate practice. And so I've been spending my summers at law firms and haven't been able to get that judicial experience. That's something that I would set my eyes on. And so if maybe you don't want to use a summer to use a judicial internship, granted it's a hard opportunity to get, but that's something that Delaware Law School also offers.
And there's another question further in the chat that maybe I can help with. So part of this conversation is, I want to speak to when you would be looking at these opportunities. So somebody in the chat asked about during your first year, is it pivotal expected to get an externship or clerkship? And so these opportunities, the ones that are in-house, that we help connect you to, the externships, those are not available to you until you're an upper level student. So your first year, you are focused on your academics, which will open the door to those opportunities. And the same thing for your externship or excuse me, your internship or clerkship in the summer. Those are things you could work towards for the summer, but not something you'd be taking on during the academic year as a first year student. So I hope that cleared up that, but I want to jump back up in the chat. We have a question about, is there a strong Delaware Law alumni network in Philadelphia? Joseph lives close to Philadelphia, so asking about the network there. I don't know if any of you want to speak to that. I certainly can, but I would love to hear student perspectives.
Yeah, I'm from Philly. Worked in Philly last summer. I'll be working in Philly this summer. Probably be practicing in Philly. And last semester, or actually the beginning of this semester, the Black Alumni Network for the law school hosted a networking mixer in Philadelphia. There have been a number of alumni that have hosted other networking mixers in Philadelphia. And so there is a big draw there. I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe about a third of the students that graduate from Delaware Law School go to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware. And so just imagine a third of everyone that graduates from Delaware Law School is in Pennsylvania. Good chance they might also be in Philadelphia. And when you're networking, and I think also when you're applying for opportunities, that's something that's really important. Again, for me, I was looking towards the firm side, and with them, sometimes the fact that you have a regional connection to the area can be a really big draw for you as an applicant. And so when they see Delaware Law School, whether you're in Philadelphia, New Jersey, or Delaware, that's something that they recognize and they see as a good sign because you have ties to the area.
Thanks so much for that. Want to ask a question to each of you about whether you live on campus, what housing options are like, if you commute, what that's like. So I'm wondering if you're willing to share your perspectives on that.
I'm a commuter. I luckily live in Westchester, which isn't far at all. But classes start around 6:20 and rush hour is between 4 to class time. I have a few friends that live in New Jersey, I have one friend that lives in Bucks County, and we have become very fond of podcasts and listening to all different kind of legal podcasts. We talk about it when we get to class. Commuting can be a little tough at times, but you can't beat the Delaware gas prices. So, as long as you like find that time, um, I even leave like way earlier than I should just in case like something does happen, like there's an accident, way more traffic than usual. Um, but as long as you figure that out, once again, like during your first semester, um, commuting tends to be ritual. After that, you'll figure it out.
So I lived in a dorm my first year, and I currently live in a townhouse right now. They're both on campus. I loved living in the dorms. They were always so clean, and I loved meeting people, and I met a lot of my closest friends there, and we'd cook every so often. Like it was just a big happy family. And then when I got back to my dorm, it was massive one, and I had everything there, and that was really nice. And now I live in a townhouse with my friend Leah. It's 2 bedrooms. We have our own bathroom, kitchen, living room, which is so sweet. We always have our friends over. It's like our own space to hang out, but it's still on campus and really close. Everything is clean, awesome. I have everything I possibly need. The beds are really big and nice. Everything works. And so, yeah, I have absolutely no complaints living on campus.
And I should mention for all the accepted applicants, for more information about housing options, as Eileen mentioned, we do have on-campus housing, which is pretty rare for a law school or a graduate program. So you do have those options. Information about that is on our website. But what we also have for our students is we have an off-campus housing resource guide. So if you have set up your My Widener account, and you have a Widener email, you can access our housing portal that will give you information that is compiled really from advice and data from where students here live off campus. So if you're not interested in on-campus housing, tons of options. We're in a really unique location that gives you access to a lot of different neighborhoods nearby, pretty accessible. So make sure to check that out. Information on our website, also in your accepted applicant packets, although I'm certainly happy to share the link here kind of before we close out. I may have skipped a question, although it looks like Eileen, you helped me answer it. Patrick asking, law school seems scary at first glance, but with effort, is it possible? I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that response.
Well, I touched on this a little bit earlier. I am a first generation law student and I work at a diner during the day. I had no experience at all with the legal field. I came into law school super nervous. I had a little bit of imposter syndrome too, thinking that like I am not like these other people who have worked as a paralegal for 5 years now, and their job is trying to convince them to do it. I felt very, very anxious and nervous, probably the same anxiety and nerves you're feeling right now. And it absolutely can be done. You just got to put the work in, know what you're signing up for. And as long as you do put that work in, you get results for sure. For sure. And all the professors, another thing I wanted to touch up on, with evening division, your professors know how crazy your schedule is. Usually they also just work a job during the day and they too are tired. They know how it is and they are so accommodating and understanding. And with cold calls, if you had an off day at work or you just didn't get the chance to read, a lot of the professors are like, hey, I'll give you 2 skips, send me an email, tell me you had a bad day. It's no big deal. Everyone's extremely accommodating as long as you are open and communicating about that.
Yeah, that's great advice. We have another kind of switching back to the externships, internships, clerkships conversation. We have a question about when do students need to start applying during their first year for these opportunities? yeah, sometimes an undergrad caught off guard because of how early in advance you had to apply for these things. So I don't know if any of you can speak to in your first year when you were looking for summer jobs, or now as upper level students, what the timeline is.
I will say first, don't stress, take a deep breath. We have an amazing career services office, and Dean McDonald's done a really great job at getting employers on campus specifically. And so when you need to know, you will have advance notice using the Simplicity system. There are a lot of resources available there when we do our OCI or on-campus hiring, as well as general opportunities. So like Eileen mentioned, there are a lot of panels. There are a lot of different professionals that will come to campus. They will make you aware. Again, I look at it from a firm lens, particularly larger law firms, because it's been my experience. It gets earlier every year, which has a lot of negatives, not as many positives. And so if that's the path you're looking into, it starts a bit earlier. So ideally, you just want to get your resume complete as soon as possible, right? It's really only going to have undergrad or maybe some recent work experiences on there, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do. But your writing samples and grades, those are things that really just won't be complete until the end of your first semester anyways. So some applications that I'm aware of open as early as mid-November for larger law firms, so you won't have completed your first semester yet. But the reality of that is you also don't have grades, and they're not hiring people without grades. So typically what will happen is you can submit your resume and cover letter, and once you've completed your first semester and you have your grades, you then supplement your application. Or alternatively, you can wait until the end of the semester to submit it. So that's why I say I wouldn't be too worried about the application itself during the semester. More so just getting your materials together, because again, without your grades, your application still isn't complete.
Thanks, Zach. Switching back to commutes, housing, do any of you commute from Philadelphia? Because we have someone who's wondering if you could provide insights on that. Anybody?
I don't commute, but I have friends who commute, and we are right off the highway, so it's never really an issue to like come trek through Delaware. Of course, it's like Philly and you're leaving Philly, so there's traffic here and there, but the professors all understand that people are commuting, and if there's traffic, like it's really not a big issue at all. People are super understanding. My friends from Philly will also stay late on campus for events or if they're studying in the library, and they never really have issues whatsoever. It's just a regular drive, but I have a lot of friends who live either in New Jersey or Philadelphia and are completely fine.
Yeah, we have a lot of students who are from the Philadelphia area, South Jersey area, as Eileen mentioned. And while we do have on-campus housing, it's really only fitting about a third of our population. So most people are commuting. We do have free parking. And so there's a lot of folks driving to us from Philly, South Jersey, other counties in and around the area. And for most students, it's not a huge deal. Like Eileen said, I think if you give yourself some time on the front end and the back end of your day so that you're not stressed. But certainly, as all the students have said, which I think is great advice, just being, communicative with your faculty if something does come up, will kind of go a long way. There's another question that I can address here in the chat about the new hybrid program. So for any students here who are in our part-time program, we are piloting a program this upcoming year that is going to mean that your schedule is 3 nights a week, which is the normal part-time program schedule, but one of those nights will be online, live, but online. And so for this hybrid schedule, we haven't yet determined what day will be remote of those 3. And I think, Robert, you might be referencing, there is a class schedule, a sample class schedule on our website that I do think is helpful. You'll notice that classes historically have been on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for that evening program. I would imagine that would continue. We just haven't yet determine which of those days is remote, but we will communicate that to you. Students will be getting their schedules over the summer, so you'll have plenty of time to kind of make arrangements. And if in the meantime you have questions, you always reach out to us in admissions, and we can always try to track down additional information. Another question for the students: have you noticed if extracurriculars on campus impact your opportunities off campus? So internships, things like that.
So sorry, Eileen. I know honor societies are really helpful. So moot court, there are 4. So we have 2 publications, which would be Widener Law Review and then the Delaware Journal of Corporate Law. And then we have the Moot Court Honor Society and the Transactional Law Honor Society. And so those are usually big draws for employers. Typically, they like to see either Law Review or Journal. Moot Court is also great. Transactional is great. So those are things that initially stand out. I've also seen various campus leaders stand out because of their roles. So we talked earlier about the Academic Success Fellows program. That's something that's really called out to employers when they see it on a resume. Additionally, like Eileen, SBA president, that would be a really big thing to have on there. And of course, we have 20+ student organizations. So there are a lot of opportunities for leadership. And all of those, I think, do go a long way because they have so many transferable skills from leading a student organization going into a professional space. So I've seen them positively impact students in a lot of different ways.
I will echo Zach. The honor societies are big. So Widener Law Review and Delaware Corporate Journal, every employer or any person that I've really ever talked to always asks me, are you on a publication? Even if you're not on a publication, I have many friends who are super successful, have jobs lined up, very good salaries, have had no issues getting jobs or externships or internships, who are also not on these publications or as involved as other people. So it's really whatever you want. It doesn't hurt to have extracurriculars on your resume. Through our organizations, you also meet people who are alum of these organizations, and that's also the gateway to getting other opportunities. I will be completely honest. When it comes to political organizations, we love free speech, right? That is the law way. But as you go through law school, just be cognizant of like where you might want to end up, because I'm on American Constitution Society. So as I'm applying to work under certain judges, they have mentioned like, oh, like, what's your involvement in American Constitution Society? And for me, it's not really political. It's just something to do with my friends and to share with the community. And so those are all things to be aware of. But really, like, any kind of extracurricular will always benefit you and your resume for any opportunity.
If I could just jump in there really quickly, Carly, thank you for that, Eileen and Zach. My one tip that I would provide is to be careful with too much involvement in extracurricular activities during your first year. And that's sort of a theme that's you've been hearing tonight in various places from various speakers, that you want to, as much as possible, focus your first year, definitely your first semester, as Zach was saying, but I would recommend your first year on your academics, on the academic side of things. And then during that time, you can sort of maybe go to a few events and, you know, get a sense for what those activities and organizations are like and which ones you think might be a good fit for you.
Can I add something really quick to that? So yes, Dean Eakin is 100% correct. Our organizations are very well aware that your 1L year is the most important, so you need to be studying and focused on that. But when you guys get here, we have something called Table Day, where you can meet all of our great organizations and sign up for the email list. I highly recommend signing up for almost every single one for your studies purposes and networking purposes, because every single organization almost has an outline bank, which is literally law school gold. So you don't have to make your own and you can just piggyback off the success of everyone else. So don't completely shut yourself off to organizations, but my involvement started really my 2L year. So after you get like those top grades, right, your first year, then you can transition your second year into all those other positions. And if you ever need a break your 1L year to like go to like a hangout at a local bar, or like go like do some kind of event with some people in org, like you'll always have that. But definitely focus on school first year.
And I want to add to that, not only your first year, your entire law school career, please be mindful of how much work you've taken on. I have the problem of not knowing how to say no to things, which is great because I feel like I've gotten really good at time management. But I've also gotten really good with being stressed all the time. And that's something that I've done to myself. So just always being cautious, like the first opportunity to jump into leadership, you don't always necessarily have to take it. Really prioritize the things that you're most passionate about. And so if that's moot court and you want to be the moot court president, I probably wouldn't advise you to run for SBA president or try to be a vice president for another organization, just because you have to be a lot more mindful of your time. But with that said, take advantage of opportunities. Just make sure you're always being mindful of your time and your studies.
Thanks, Zach, and thanks to all of you. And I think that's a great note to end on, because I think what I want to kind of hopefully take away from this is you have tons of opportunities here. So I hope you know, as accepted students, you know, we have everything here for you. And I hope that during Accepted Applicant Month, you get to see that by coming to these events. So I know we went a few minutes over, but I know it was an important conversation. So I want to thank everybody really quickly for being here. To our students, our admitted students, I hope that this was helpful to you, and I hope you'll continue to join us throughout the month. Our next virtual event is going to be Thursday, March 13th at 6 p.m. It's going to feature our student affinity groups and our commitment to student belonging here. So really a great opportunity again to connect with different students and different offices from Delaware Law School. Hope to see you again soon. And then I quickly want to thank our panelists. Again, I am a very proud Delaware Law alum, in addition to my admissions hat that I wear. So it makes me extremely proud to hear from our students and the amazing things you're all accomplishing, the way that you're accomplishing them, your approach, and really the collaborative collegial spirit. That was certainly the case when I was a student. It's wonderful to hear that, you know, persist. And I hope that that's a big takeaway for our admitted students as well. I hope you all got some good information, got a good window into the community here and the experience. And please reach out to us if there is, you know, any other lingering question we couldn't get to. But otherwise, I want to be respectful of everyone's time, let you get back to your evenings. And I want to kind of wish you all good night and hope to see you again this month. Thanks so much, everyone.